had the bright idea to get all of the best exponents of gospel from all over the world together.
James Cleveland, the king of gospel, was a music legend, but he was hiding dark secrets that could destroy everything he was known for. Behind the Grammy wins and the church's praise lies a shocking story of scandal and betrayal that no one saw coming. How did this beloved figure keep such horrifying truths hidden, and what really went on behind the scenes of his rise to fame? Humble beginnings to gospel greatness. James Cleveland, often hailed as the King of Gospel, didn't start with a crown on his head. Born on December 5, 1931 in Chicago's vibrant gospel scene, young James was immersed in a world where faith and music were inseparable. His grandmother, a devout woman who saw the potential in him, brought him to Pilgrim Baptist Church, a place that would shape his future in ways no one could have imagined. It was here that James's talent for music began to shine, even though the family couldn't afford a piano. James practiced on a windowsill, imagining the keys beneath his fingers, dreaming of the day he could play a real instrument. By the time he was just 8 years old, James had already made his solo debut with the church choir. His performance left the congregation in awe, and it caught the attention of Thomas A. Dorsey, the choir director known as the father of gospel music. Dorsey took James under his wing, nurturing his talent and guiding him through the early stages of his musical journey. But James wasn't just a protege, he was a sponge, soaking up influences from all around him. One of his early idols was Roberta Martin, a prominent gospel singer and pianist who also performed at Pilgrim Baptist. Martin's influence was profound, and it was her group, the Roberta Martin Singers, that first helped mold James's unique style, a blend of traditional gospel and jazz that would later define his career. But life in Chicago during the Great Depression wasn't easy. Money was tight and luxuries were rare. Yet this didn't stop James. His determination only grew stronger, and by high school his parents managed to scrape together enough money to buy him an upright piano. This was a turning point for James. He practiced tirelessly, developing a style that was unlike anything the gospel world had seen before. His dedication paid off when he joined the Thorn Gospel Crusaders, a local gospel group where his talent as a composer began to shine. One of his early compositions, "Grace is Sufficient," performed at a Baptist convention in 1948, marked a significant milestone in his budding career. This moment was pivotal. It led to Roberta Martin publishing his work, officially launching his professional career. But James didn't just stick to one path. He became involved with the Soul Winners for Christ, a missionary group founded by his teenage friend, Jesse Jimerson Phillips. This experience further solidified his commitment to gospel music and his faith. Yet, despite his growing success, James faced a major setback when he strained his vocal cords while singing with a local group. This injury gave him the distinctive gravelly voice that would later become his hallmark. Instead of seeing it as a limitation, James embraced his new voice, using it to add depth and emotion to his performances. By now, James Cleveland was a name to watch in the gospel community. But how did this young musician from Chicago go on to revolutionize gospel music? What were the early influences that shaped his journey? And who were the key figures that helped him along the way? And as his star began to rise, what challenges did he face that could have derailed his career before it even began? These are questions that hint at the complexities of Cleveland's early life, a time filled with promise, talent, and the unwavering belief that he was destined for greatness. But as we dig deeper into his story, it becomes clear that this was just the beginning. The real drama, the real controversy was yet to come. The meteoric ascent of a gospel legend. By 1950, James Cleveland was poised to make a significant impact on the gospel music scene. His early struggles and triumphs had prepared him for the challenges ahead, and his unique style was beginning to catch the attention of gospel music's biggest names. At 19, Cleveland joined the Gospelaires, a dynamic trio led by Noralice McIsaac and Bessie Folk. This group was all about modernizing traditional gospel tunes, and Cleveland's innovative arrangements breathed new life into classics like "Give Me That Old-Time Religion" and "It's Me, O Lord." However, the Gospelaires disbanded not long after Cleveland joined, leaving him at a crossroads. But as fate would have it, his connection with one of his early idols, Roberta Martin, would soon pay off. Martin, recognizing Cleveland's potential, hired him as a composer and arranger for her group, the Roberta Martin Singers. This was a pivotal moment in Cleveland's career as it provided him with the platform he needed to showcase his talents on a larger scale. Cleveland's big break came with his powerful rendition of "Peace Be Still," a song that would go on to become one of the most iconic gospel recordings of all time. The song, recorded with the Caravans, was a perfect showcase of Cleveland's ability to blend traditional gospel with modern influences, creating a sound that was both deeply spiritual and profoundly moving. This rendition catapulted him to fame and established him as a force to be reckoned with in the gospel music world. Cleveland's collaboration with the Caravans, a group founded by his childhood friend Albertina Walker, was another crucial step in his rise to fame. The Caravans were a powerhouse group that would become a launchpad for many gospel legends. Cleveland joined as a composer, arranger, pianist, occasional singer, and even a narrator, contributing to the group's success in numerous ways. The Caravans boasted talents like Shirley Caesar, who would later be known as the First Lady of Gospel, and Inez Andrews, whose voice became synonymous with some of the group's biggest hits. Working with the Caravans, Cleveland helped to produce several landmark recordings, including "Please Be Patient with Me" and "Reunion," which would go on to become some of the most celebrated albums in gospel music history. His arrangements were innovative, blending traditional gospel with elements of jazz and blues, creating a sound that was entirely new and incredibly powerful. But Cleveland's success wasn't limited to his work with the Caravans. In 1959, he recorded a version of Ray Charles's hit "Hallelujah, I Love Her So" as a solo artist, showcasing his ability to bring a gospel sensibility to popular music. This was a bold move as it blurred the lines between gospel and secular music, something that was highly controversial at the time. But Cleveland's gamble paid off, and his rendition was well received, earning him a record contract that would change his life forever. As the 1960s began, Cleveland was on the verge of becoming a household name in gospel music. He had the talent, the connections, and the drive to succeed. But what would come next would cement his place in history as one of the most influential figures in gospel music. A game-changing moment in music history. The early 1960s were a turning point for James Cleveland. In 1962, he signed with Savoy Records, a historic jazz label that would become the home for many of his most iconic recordings. This partnership was a game-changer, allowing Cleveland to produce a vast catalog of soul gospel recordings, many of which were captured live in concert settings. These live recordings were revolutionary in the gospel music world as they captured the raw energy and spiritual intensity of Cleveland's performances in a way that studio recordings simply couldn't. One of the most significant collaborations during this period was with the Reverend Lawrence Roberts and the Angelic Choir of Nutley, New Jersey. Reverend Roberts, the pastor of the First Baptist Church in Nutley, had the idea of capturing the spirit of worship live on record, and Cleveland was the perfect artist to bring this vision to life. Together, they released several albums, including the iconic "Peace Be Still" in September 1963. This album was a massive success, selling thousands of copies and earning Cleveland his first gold album. It stayed on the Billboard charts for over 15 years. But Cleveland wasn't content to rest on his laurels. In 1965, he moved to Los Angeles to become the minister of music at Grace Memorial Church of God in Christ. This move marked a new chapter in his career as he began working with a new group of musicians, including the talented keyboardist Billy Preston. Cleveland formed the James Cleveland Singers, which included members like Odessa McCassell, Georgia White, Eugene Bryant, and Billy Preston. This group became one of the most sought-after gospel acts in the country, touring extensively throughout the United States and abroad. Their performances were highly anticipated, and they quickly became known for their electrifying live shows. Cleveland's ability to connect with his audience, combined with the exceptional talent of his singers, made each performance a memorable experience. The group produced several hit recordings during this period, including "Heaven That Will Be Good Enough for Me," "Two Wings," and "The Lord Is Blessing Me Right Now." These songs were not only popular but also deeply influential, helping to shape the sound of modern gospel music. Cleveland's influence continued to grow, and in 1968 he co-founded the Gospel Music Workshop of America with Albertina Walker. This annual convention quickly became a beacon for aspiring gospel musicians, providing a platform for them to learn, perform, and connect with others in the industry. The GMWA grew exponentially, boasting over 150 chapters and 30,000 members at its peak. It featured and produced some of the greatest names in gospel music, including Donald Vails, Isaac Douglas, and Daryl Coley, among others. But as Cleveland's fame and influence grew, so did the controversy surrounding him. His unique ability to transform pop, R&B, and soul songs into gospel anthems was both celebrated and criticized. For example, his gospel rendition of Gladys Knight and the Pips' "You're the Best Thing That Ever Happened to Me," reimagined as "Jesus is the Best Thing That Ever Happened to Me," earned him a Grammy nomination in 1975. While this innovation broadened the appeal of gospel music, it also raised eyebrows among traditionalists who felt that Cleveland was straying too far from gospel's roots. And then there were the rumors. Cleveland's personal life was often the subject of speculation, with many in the gospel community whispering about his relationships and the secrets he kept hidden from public view. These rumors, whether true or not, added an air of mystery and intrigue to Cleveland's already complex persona. What were the secrets that Cleveland kept, and how did they impact his life and career? How did he balance his groundbreaking contributions to gospel music with the personal challenges and controversies that seemed to follow him wherever he went? The hidden darkness behind the music. James Cleveland's contributions to gospel music are undeniable, but as his star rose, so too did the shadows that lurked behind his public persona. The darker aspects of his life began to emerge, and these revelations would forever alter how the gospel community viewed the man they once revered. One of the most disturbing aspects of Cleveland's story involves allegations made by his former foster son, Christopher Harris. Harris, who once went by the name Christopher Cleveland, was a young member of Cleveland's Los Angeles church choir. At just 13 years old, Harris was already towering at 6 feet tall, making him stand out among his peers. Cleveland took a special interest in Harris, mentoring him and nurturing his musical talents. However, this relationship, which seemed paternal on the surface, allegedly took a sinister turn. According to Harris, what began as a mentorship quickly devolved into something far darker. Harris alleged that he endured 5 years of sexual abuse at the hands of Cleveland, starting when he was just 13 years old. The abuse reportedly continued until Harris contracted HIV, a diagnosis that would forever change his life. Harris's allegations, which were shocking to those who revered Cleveland, were part of a lawsuit filed against Cleveland's estate after his death. The case was settled out of court, with the terms of the settlement remaining confidential. Harris has spoken publicly about his experiences, though he is legally prohibited from discussing the specifics of the settlement. These allegations cast a long shadow over Cleveland's legacy, raising difficult questions about the man behind the music. How could someone who created such heavenly music be capable of such horrific actions? The gospel community, which had long idolized Cleveland, found itself grappling with these revelations, forced to reconcile the beauty of his art with the ugliness of his alleged actions. But the controversy didn't end with Harris's claims. Cleveland's sexual orientation had long been an open secret among those close to him. It was known within his inner circle and at his church that Cleveland had relationships with young men, yet these relationships were often ignored or swept under the rug. This culture of silence and denial allowed the alleged abuse to continue unchecked, further complicating Cleveland's legacy. One particularly troubling aspect of Cleveland's life was the way in which those around him chose to look the other way. His power and influence in the gospel music world were immense, and it seemed that no one was willing to confront the rumors and allegations that swirled around him. This atmosphere of complicity raises questions about the broader gospel community's willingness to address difficult issues within its ranks. What responsibility did those close to Cleveland have in allowing these alleged abuses to go unchecked? And how does this culture of silence continue to impact the gospel world today? A legacy tainted by scandal and death. James Cleveland's career was one marked by extraordinary achievements and devastating controversies. His impact on gospel music was monumental, but his legacy is one that remains deeply conflicted, especially in the wake of the allegations and rumors that surfaced after his death. Cleveland's career was studded with accolades, including 4 Grammy Awards that underscored his immense influence on gospel music. His first Grammy came in 1974 when he and the Southern California Community Choir won Best Soul Gospel Performance for their album, In the Ghetto. This award was a significant milestone, solidifying Cleveland's reputation as a leading figure in the gospel music world. Just a few years later, in 1977, he won another Grammy for Best Soul Gospel Performance Traditional for his live album, James Cleveland Live at Carnegie Hall. Cleveland's funeral was a grand affair, drawing over 8,000 mourners to the Shrine Auditorium in Los Angeles. It was a testament to the impact he had on so many lives, yet even in death, the controversies that had dogged him in life continued to cast a shadow over his memory. Cleveland was laid to rest at Inglewood Park Cemetery in Inglewood, California, but the debate over his legacy was far from over. In the months following his death, a legal battle erupted over his estate. Cleveland had died intestate, meaning he left no will, which led to a complicated and contentious probate process. One of the key figures in this battle was Andre Cleveland, who claimed he was entitled to a share of the estate. Andre, whose real name is Andre McKissick, argued that he was like a foster son to Cleveland, having lived with him for 12 years. However, the court ruled against Andre, citing that no legal barrier existed to his adoption after he turned 18, which disqualified him from claiming part of the estate. Another aspect of Cleveland's personal life that came to light after his death was his relationship with his daughter, Leon Cleveland. Leon's mother, Jean Irvin, publicly asserted her claim as the mother of Cleveland's only biological child, bringing Leon into the public eye. This added another layer of complexity to Cleveland's legacy, highlighting the familial bonds that were often overshadowed by his public engagements and controversies. What do you think? Can we still celebrate James Cleveland's music, knowing the dark secrets that came to light? Share your thoughts in the comments below. If you found this story interesting, don't forget to like the video and subscribe for more deep dives into the untold stories behind the legends. Thanks for watching.